The conversation of tomorrow's West Ham against Arsenal match has to begin with Mikel Arteta's decision to strip Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang of the captaincy on that team. Had about a day to think about it. What do you make of that decision?
Well, I still think it comes across as being incredibly cold, incredibly harsh. I'd have to think there's other stuff behind the scenes that we don't know about that's not been reported with his behaviour because, you know, of what we know about, it just seems so cold, and I'm not sure I've seen a player get so much hammer from the club and from the manager publicly for his behaviour. You know, an experienced player, a really good goal scorer on a ton of money, just signed a new contract or recently signed a new contract. I mean, it's like, wow, it must have been some bad behaviour to get this reaction from the club. You know, the club spoke to him. Arteta spoke to him in terms of this decision. So not in the squad for West Ham United. I guess in some ways the pressure does go on Mikel Arteta because you're going to be without one of your best goal scorers at the club. Strong stance. We'll see if it's the right one.
Do you wish it would have been handled behind the scenes?
Of what we know about, I would have expected it to be handled behind the scenes. You know, being late once for training, his car was stuck in traffic, and it been allowed to go back to see his poorly mother in France, and with COVID protocols, got late again. If that's it, wow, this is some reaction to that. So again, I'm speculating that there's other stuff that the manager said, I've got to draw a line under this and publicly hammer him.
You agree?
Yeah, I do. I think Arteta's right to do what he's done. I like to compare the two managers. I look at David Moyes and I look at Arteta. I think Arteta probably played under Moyes at Everton. And the culture that David Moyes has created at West Ham is probably the culture that Arteta would love to have at Arsenal, in particular with the senior players. I look at West Ham over the years and I saw a group of players that looked at West Ham and thought to themselves, you should be happy I'm here. I look at West Ham now and every single player, it's an honour to play for West Ham. And likewise with Arsenal, I look at Arsenal and players like Aubameyang and players that have gone recently as well. And I think they look at the club and think, you're lucky to have me here. And I think Arteta's trying to change that culture. And this may be one of the main reasons that he said, right, enough is enough. I have to make my imprint now at this club and to understand that the younger players coming through now, they need to be led. And I need my senior players to stand up to the plate.
It's a big story to push aside, but we push it aside to focus just on the match. West Ham against Arsenal tomorrow. What do you see?
Wow, it's such a contrast in styles. It's the battle for a top four spot. These are two teams that are going to be right in that competition to try and find the top four. The top three, I think, are going to be way ahead of everybody else. Very different. And I think the way that West Ham play, it's a tough one for Arsenal. If Arsenal's football is as good as what Arteta wants it to be every single week, they can beat West Ham United. But if it's not at the very, very best, I imagine that West Ham's physicality, the fact that they're fighters, they're the hard-working, talented players, I think will come out on top.
Yeah, I look at West Ham and they'll really fancy the chances. Everything that's going on, all this noise, that would be great for West Ham. They are missing Zuma, Agbona, Johnson, Creswell. So that will be a little bit of a blow for them. But I think they're looking and think if we can defend solid, we'll get chances on the counter-attack, and particularly with Antonio.
All right, 3 other games tomorrow. Let's focus on Brighton against Wolves. 2:30 tomorrow on Peacock. Wolves having a hard time winning and scoring. Brighton winless in their last 10 Premier League matches.
Yeah, and two teams that love to play open, expansive football. Really good teams to watch, really good teams for us to analyse and enjoy their football. I really like the way that they're trying to do it. Have they been consistently great? No. I think Wolves have surprised me more than most other teams this year with Bruno Lage and what he's brought to Wolves, playing a very different style than Nuno Espirito Santo and getting results. And Brighton, lots we talked about their start of the season. They've fallen away a little bit, but I think a fascinating game should be an open game of football and tough one to call, but I would just go with the home team, Brighton.
It's a very tough one to call. Both teams not scoring at the moment. You know, I think that's the struggles. Brighton, no wins in the last 10, but 8 of them have been draws. You look at Jimenez, what he did at Manchester City the weekend, he's going to be missing. So it's going to be a real close game. I look at Brighton and they're so close to challenging higher up the table, but they just need that consistent goal scorer because everything going up to the final third, you know, that's been great. But I'm with Robbie on this one. I do think that Brighton, we just have enough in this game to get 3 points, but it's going to be really close.
I think it was just a few days ago we led a show talking about the pressure on the teams that are right next to or in the relegation zone. We have one of those matches tomorrow as well. Burnley, Watford. Watford just 2 points above the relegation zone. Burnley, for now, they're in it.
Yeah, they are. And I think Sean Dyche, when we talk at the start of the season, or even at this point of the season, I never mentioned Burnley in a relegation battle because they've got players with know-how. They've got Sean Dyche. And, you always look at them and you think results will come good. And more often than not, they do. And it's going to be a tough game tomorrow. We saw Watford concede plenty, can score plenty as well. So it's just how well Burnley can defend against this Watford attack. And then can they take advantage of Watford's individual errors at the back?
It's funny, Paul. You look at these two clubs, they couldn't do things differently. They couldn't. The way that they play, the way they change a manager, they change their players. I mean, Burnley's so consistent. There's the same manager there forever, it seems. They play a different style of football. Who's going to come out on top? This really is a six-pointer because both of these teams are banging trouble. I know there's plenty of games to go yet. I thought Watford would struggle this season given the rotation, the amount of players coming in, but there's some good players there. They've got some good front players. Defensively is where their issue's been. And Burnley just don't look like scoring. They look stronger defensively, very well set up. I mean, we know the team right now. I mean, barring injuries, it's the same team all the time, the same shape. But they've got to start getting 3 points or they're going to be in this relegation fight right to the end.
Crystal Palace, Southampton. Danny, what can we look forward to there?
Love what Patrick Vieira's doing at Crystal Palace. Brought the average age of the team down, dominating possession. They've already had more possession in more games this season than the whole of last season. Conor Gallagher as well. Then they're missing the likes of MacArthur and Anderson still getting results. So they're in a really good spot, a really good place. And if I'm a Crystal Palace fan, I'm delighted. Southampton, struggling with goals. They lost Danny Ings. He was the main man for them. Yes, Shea Adams and there are others. But there's potential that some of the forward plays for Southampton tomorrow may well be out.
What's your headline for that one?
Southampton. Which Southampton we're going to see? Because sometimes you see a really good team that's well organised, it looks bright in its counter-attack, they press really, really well. And I say things like, wow, you know what, good manager, Ralph Hasenhüttl. Then you see the last game where they're smashed, they're rolled over, and they look awful. Worried about them again before the season in terms of relegation. This is a big game. Crystal Palace, such an important win, wasn't it, the weekend for them against Everton, just to keep the momentum going, the excitement about a new manager, a new style, new players. Conor Gallagher is, wow, at the moment, one of the most effective, best players in the Premier League, particularly as a number 8, getting box-to-box and getting some goals.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch highlights all season long and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern. And for even more content, head over to Peacock, where we've got live games, original series and a dedicated round-the-clock Premier League channel featuring studio shows, classic matches and much more.